Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. You can find me personally, Slim Dayspring12 on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, listen to Dayspring Discussions on YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, Patreon, and hopefully more places coming soon in 2020. Go on there, guys. Like, comment, rate, review, whatever. Dislike if you want. I don't care. Just join in the discussion. Well, happy 2020, everyone. The new year is upon us. Guys, great to be here. Been doing this show now for a couple of years now, and I feel like, as it goes on, I get better and better at it. But of course, if you're not growing or improving, either in your business or in life in general, you're sitting still. So of course, my pledge this year, aside from the normal stuff to exercise and eat healthier and make more money at my regular job, one of my other goals is to improve more on this show, spread it out more, reach more people, get more of an audience. I appreciate all those who do listen. I truly do. But again, this is a discussion. I do this because I love talking about comic books and sci-fi, movies, TV shows, all that stuff. I hope you do too. I hope that's why you're listening. If you enjoy the show, tell a friend to subscribe and listen, of course. And as always, please comment, do what you do, and we'll just have a good old time here in 2020. So, on today's show, there's not a lot of news going on, of course. Beginning of the year, not a lot of, trailers come out, movie news, all that stuff. Everyone's still taking the holidays off. It's understandable. But as it is a new year, which means we got a whole new batch of movies and TV shows based on comic books, sci-fi, fantasy stuff coming out. So I want to talk about some of the stuff that's coming up, where my excitement level is, and of course, let me know where yours is. And then later on, Lisa's going to come in and we're going to talk a little Star Wars. Now that the first season of The Mandalorian is done, as well as The Rise of Skywalker, what is the future of Star Wars? What's coming up? And maybe what can we expect moving forward for the biggest franchise of all time? Okay, so without further ado, let's just get right into it. Movies of 2020. Now, we had quite a few good ones in 2019, not to mention the biggest film of all time, Avengers Endgame. It's going to be interesting to see where Marvel goes from here, given the fact that, they've reached the top of the mountain, and is there a higher mountain to climb, or is it all just going downhill? I don't really want to get into that discussion right now, or maybe on this episode, maybe later on, of course. We can have further discussions about that. Another promise, or another thing I'm going to try to do in 2020 is get more guest stars or guest co-hosts on this. Of course, you've had Lisa come on here. She loves to talk Star Wars. I have other buddies like Jaime comes in. He's got the DC Universe app, so we talk some Young Justice, Titans, maybe some Arrowverse. My old co-host Josh, I want to see if I can get him in here. And then maybe my buddy JR. I'd like to talk Star Wars and superheroes and stuff with him, so maybe I get him in here, as well as a few other people. So again, that's another goal of mine in 2020, is to get some guest co-hosts in here, not all the time, maybe once a month or so, just to have a better discussion, because otherwise it's just me sitting in a mic talking to myself. It's a discussion, okay? And that's what I want to get into, and that's where I'm hoping to grow this year as well, is to get more people involved in the discussion of all this great stuff that I love, and I know you love too. Okay, so as I said, some good films are on the way. I'm going to talk films first, and then a couple TV shows. But February 7th, starting off the gate in the realm of sci-fi and science fiction, fantasy, comic books, Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harley Quinn. So guys, this is of course in the realm of the DC EU, I think is what it's called, the DC shared cinematic universe that started off with Man of Steel, includes Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, Justice League, Aquaman, even Shazam is in the mix on this one. So this is a film, really highlighting the girl power, directed by Kathy Yan, something like that. And it's going to star Margot Robbie back as Harley Quinn. You also have a couple others in there. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is going to be Huntress. Journey Smollett-Bell, Friday Night's alumni, love her. She's going to be Black Canary. You have Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya, as well as Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan himself, is going to be the villain Black Mask. This film, I gotta say, I'm not excited for. I mean, honestly, I think Birds of Prey is a great idea for a comic and a movie, actually. These female heroes coming together, forming a team. Huntress, Black Canary, you had Batgirl or Oracle in the mix too, as well. You got the old TV show that was on, I believe, the WB. I'm all about it. Good cast we got going on here. But I know this film is just going to be a Harley Quinn film. And that's going to piss me off because I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I think she's a great actress, so she's a great choice for Harley Quinn. But there were rumors for a long time that they were going to do a Harley Quinn film, maybe a Harley Quinn Joker film, and then a Birds of Prey film. And when I heard that she was going to be in the Birds of Prey film, I immediately was sad because I knew it was going to be all about Harley Quinn. And it saddens me because Black Canary, Huntress, all the other kind of crew of Birds of Prey are great characters to explore, and I know they're going to take a back seat to this fan-popular character of Harley Quinn. Now, I try to stay hopeful, and the fact that I'm really enjoying the Harley Quinn animated series on DC Universe may pique my interest maybe a little more in this film. But number one, also, we heard that Jared Leto, who played the Joker in the shared cinematic universe, is not going to be in this as well. Word has it he's still a little sour from the Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix, but that's just me talking rumors, and, don't take it to the bank, folks. I'm just afraid it's going to be Harley Quinn and all the other characters are going to be sidelined. And that's what I don't want to see because I know the other characters from the comics, from animated series, even from the Arrowverse, are great characters to explore and deserve their chance to shine, and the spotlight's going to be on Harley Quinn. Now, I'm not saying it might not be an entertaining film, but I would much rather them do a Harley Quinn film and a Birds of Prey film separate. They're not doing that. They're doing something different. So all I can do is go see it, hope for the best, and give an honest opinion afterwards. But if you're excited about Birds of Prey and the emancipation of Harley Quinn, let me know. Fire, of course, in the comments, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you can, guys. Now, a week after we get Harley Quinn, we're getting a little blue video game character called Sonic the Hedgehog. That's right, this film directed by Jeff Fowler, based on the popular Sega video game character. You got Jim Carrey playing the villain Dr. Robotnik. You have James Marsden, Cyclops himself in there. Who else we got? Ben Schwartz, best known for being Jean-Ralphio in Parks and Rec, is going to be doing the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. This one, I gotta say, I'm a little more excited for now that they've done the re-rendering, I don't know what you call it, how they changed how Sonic was originally going to look, because they had that first trailer and Sonic looked awful. I get they were going to try to make him look more like a realistic hedgehog, but it looked bad. They went back, they redid it, they made him look more like the video game. Sure, it's not like a real hedgehog, but who cares? This is a video game character coming over to the real world. Who cares if he looks like an actual hedgehog? So, with that being done, the new trailer was way better than the original trailer, and it got me actually more excited. I owned a Sega Genesis back in the day. If you had money, you had a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo. We didn't have a lot of money, so we just had the Sega Genesis. I had a bunch of games for it, and I had all the Sonic games. So, I was a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I love the ABC Saturday morning cartoon. The theme song of that still rings in my head as one of my favorite Saturday morning theme songs. So I'm a fan of the character. while I'm not a fan of him coming over and doing the whole going to the real world thing, like they did with, say, SpongeBob and some other animated characters in movies, I get it. It saves money budget wise. It's that. But I like the character. I want him to be playful and fun. It's something I could take my daughter to, maybe see if she gets a few laughs out of it. Again, I like Sonic. He's, from my childhood, so I'm going to go see it. I'm not expecting Shakespeare here, but what I am expecting is just a fun, good time, a couple of laughs, and again, something I can take my daughter to that maybe gets her to listen and pay attention for at least an hour or two. So, fire back, of course. Let me know what you think about Sonic the Hedgehog. All right, next up, now there is the Disney film Onward that comes out on March 6th. Which is in that sci-fi fantasy realm. But the main one I want to talk about next is going to be Bloodshot with Vin Diesel, coming out March 13th. Now, this film, based off the publishing character, I think it's Valiant Comics. To be honest, guys, I've talked about this before. I'm mainly DC Marvel. That's what I grew up on. Occasionally, I branch out and, go to other stuff. I never claim to be a comic book connoisseur and read everything and, know all the good stuff. But, I mainly stick Marvel DC. That's just how I grew up anyway. But this one, I'm not familiar with Bloodshot as much. But I will say this. They came out with the trailer. The film is being directed by Dave Wilson, who really, again, hasn't really directed much, I don't think. The trailer looked like crap. It looked like crap. This is one of those characters, and there are characters outside of DC and Marvel that, I think I've drawn to, kind of like Spawn or Hellboy, ones outside the big two that are fine. And I know of Bloodshot. I know vaguely what he's all about. But this one, I'm sorry, the trailer makes it look like complete garbage. It looks like so many other sci-fi films that I've heard about or seen trailers for within the last couple of years, and I am just not excited for this one. I don't think I'll probably go see it unless buzz starts going, but if you're excited for Bloodshot or like the character or excited to see it, tell me why you want to go see this film, and, maybe you'll sway me. We'll see. But fire back, of course, comments, social media groups, and let me know what you think about Bloodshot coming out starring Vin Diesel, because I don't think it looks very good. Okay, going down the calendar, of course, we got Quiet Place 2, Mulan. Gonna skip all those. Go to April 3rd, The New Mutants. Okay, yes, guys, allegedly this film is set to come out, finally, 2 years behind schedule. This was a film that was supposed to come out under the Fox regime of X-Men films, directed by Josh Boone, who directed films like The Fault in Our Stars, which honestly, for, sappy teeny bopper films, wasn't that bad, so I'll give him credit on that. But this film was supposed to come out, I think, 2 years than its original release date. I remember seeing posters for it in the movie theater as I'm going to see other films. Been pushed back, had a lot of rewrites, had a lot of reshoots. Allegedly, it's coming out April 3rd. Now, I thought, honestly, they'd put this thing on Hulu and just call it done, but they want to try to get some money out of it. Totally understandable, and I like the idea of it. While I'm not a big Mutants fan, of course, I'm an X-Men fan. I know New Mutants. I've read New Mutants comic books. I know these characters. I love me Wolfbane. I love Cannonball. He's one of my favorites, so I like that we have Macy Williams and Charlie Hutton in there. Excited for that. Also, of course, you do have Magic, who in the comic books is Colossus' sister. So these are characters I know. I'm familiar with them. I liked it because, again, one thing that Fox did with its X-Men properties, take chances as far as doing non-typical superhero films, such as Deadpool, such as Logan. New Mutants look like it's going to have kind of a horror vibe to it. So taking the typical superhero film and, giving it a subgenre, so to speak, making it not feel like a popcorn, typical blockbuster film. It looked interesting to me. So I'm interested to see this film. Because of all the trouble it's had, I'm not overexcited or over hopeful for it, I guess would be the word I'm saying. But it comes out April. Hopefully it keeps with that date. And if it does, I'll be excited to see what it is and, maybe what it means. Because at this point, Fox, they're owned by Disney. Disney said, hey, let's put this thing out, I guess. and we'll go from there and just see how it is, guys. So fire back, of course. Let me know what you think about New Mutants. All right, next on the list, the James Bond film No Time to Die. This is going to be Daniel Craig's last outing as the classic James Bond character. The last couple of films, I gotta say, haven't really hit me. I loved Casino Royale. That's my favorite James Bond film ever, actually. And it was Daniel Craig's first film. I really enjoyed that. The next one after that, Quantum of Solace, people really kind of pooped on that one. When you look at it as a continuation to Casino Royale, it's actually not a bad film. As a single film, okay, I get it. But again, watching back to back like I did as I was getting ready for Skyfall, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit as a compliment to Casino Royale. Skyfall, a lot of people liked. I wasn't a huge fan of. I didn't like how they took a break from the big criminal organization that they set up in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Then you go to the latest one, which honestly my mind is blanking on right now. It was Skyfall, and then what was it? Hold on, let me think about it here. Spectre, that's what it was. Yes, it was Spectre. Anyway, that film was no good either. So I did like, however, that it continued the story of the great criminal organization. That's what my hope was it for. Turns out it didn't go so well. In any event, though, this one, again, the Daniel Craig films have followed suit to where there is a bit of a continuity to them versus previous Bond films where everyone had completely new characters. You didn't look at old stories. You just had a fresh take, which is nice, of course, in James Bond. But in a world where you have cinematic universes that are hitting it big, a little continuity in a franchise is a good thing, I think, in my eyes. Not a lot, but a little bit. And No Time to Die, again, give me something a little different in James Bond. I think that's what Casino Royale did with giving me the origin story. This one looks like, yes, he's a little older, and they're really pushing that in this storyline. They've been pushing that for the last couple James Bond films, mainly because Daniel Craig's getting older too. But in this one, they're talking about his wife, the woman he met in the last film, played by Lea Sedux. And, it looks like they had a couple of rough patches and they left each other for a while. And now he's come back and having to work with her. I'm not sure. The trailer looks awesome. It's James Bond, Daniel Craig. I'm excited for it. Let me know if you guys are too. Skipping down to May 1st, we have our next MCU film, Black Widow. That's right. The Avenger is finally getting her own solo film. It's been a while. People have been really clamoring for Scarlett Johansson to get her own solo film for a while now. She's finally getting one. Now, from what our understanding is, this one takes place between Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. And at that time, she's kind of on the run from the government, kind of hanging out with Falcon and Steve Rogers, from what we know. But from the trailer, we get the idea that, she has to go back to Russia to kind of confront her past a little bit, having to deal with other Black Widows. In that sense, you got people like Rachel Weisz and David Harbour supporting her. William Hurt is making an appearance as Thaddeus Ross. Florence Bow, is that how you say her name? The girl who was the main star in the wrestling film Fighting With My Family, which is actually one of my favorite films of 2019. She's in the trailer. Looks like she's playing a sister of some kind to Natasha. I like her as an actress. I'm interested to see how she's going to do in this film. I'm really excited for that. And then there's rumor that Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back as Tony Stark. That makes sense given the fact that this is between Civil War and Infinity War. Tony Stark is around, as well as Steve Rogers is around too. So two characters that we think we saw the last of in the MCU, at least for a little while. They could come back given the time frame this film takes place. But it looks like a nice spy adventure film. We're not, fighting for the fate of the galaxy. I get it. Again, bring it down a notch. Kind of like how you went from Age of Ultron to Ant-Man. Smaller story, less characters, and just, give us personal stakes in it all. Interested to see how it's going to go. It starts off phase 4 of the MCU, and we'll see how it goes from there, guys. Going down to June 5th, Wonder Woman 1984, the sequel starring Gal Gadot, directed by Patty Jenkins. You got some newcomers in this one, like Kristen Wiig as Cheetah, Pedro Pascal as Max Lord, and Chris Pine is coming back as Steve Trevor. The trailer's out there if you want to take a look at. It's a great trailer. The first Wonder Woman film was a delight. Needless to say, I still think Gal Gadot is going to be the weakest part of this film, which is why I think they brought back Chris Pine in the sequel. You know, it looks awesome. The trailer makes it look awesome. I'm excited for this film, mainly because of the supporting cast, and you got Patty Jenkins back in this one. I don't feel like it's going to have a lot of reference to Justice League or things related to the DC expanded cinematic universe, mainly because of how it's gone, the way Aquaman and Shazam have kind of sidestepped it, the way I think Birds of Prey is going to sidestep it. And honestly, I think it's all for the best. But needless to say, probably one of my more anticipated films of 2020. I'm sure it's yours as well, but fire back, let me know just how high it ranks on your list. Okay, skipping over Top Gun Maverick to another sequel that I think people are more anticipating than the return of Tom Cruise in a jet is Ghostbusters Afterlife, coming out July 10th, 2 days before my birthday. So, you know, if the film's good, I think I'm going to be going and seeing it probably for at least the second time around my birthday. But needless to say, this film is directed by Jason Reitman, son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the first two films. Now, Jason Reitman is a director in his own acclaim, directing films like Juno, Thank You for Smoking, and Up in the Air. All three films I really enjoy. You got Paul Rudd in there coming back too. Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things is thrown in there too. Overall, this is the true sequel to the first two Ghostbuster films from back in the 80s. You did have the reboot / restart a couple of years ago with, you know, the ladies. And while I don't think it was a great film, I thought it was better than what a lot of people were crapping on it for. If they would have made a sequel to that, I probably would have gone and seen it, to be honest. But more honestly, I'm more excited for this film to see where it goes. The trailer did not thrill me, though, okay? As a kid who grew up in the 80s, I love the Ghostbuster movies. I was a Ghostbuster for Halloween at least once or maybe twice for Halloween. I had the toys, cartoons, even the Filmation Ghostbusters. I really enjoyed that, too. So I'm excited for this. Not excited by the trailer, to be honest. It looked like, you know, Stranger Things Ghostbusters in my eyes, which I do not want. Hopefully, you know, more adults take over, and it's not just a bunch of kids with proton packs running around chasing ghosts. I don't want that. I hope that's not what it is. But needless to say, I'm looking forward to this film. Let me know if you are too. Now, the week after Ghostbusters, we do get Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan film, which a trailer has come out for that. I know people are excited because it's the next Christopher Nolan film. I'm not crapping on him, but I gotta say, I think he's a little overrated. I like him. Don't start hating on me, because I think Christopher Nolan is a fine director, but I think he's not as good as some people think he is, to be honest. And, you know, if you want to come at me on the comments section, you go ahead. I can take the heat. Honestly, the first film I'm going to go see on July 17th is Bob's Burgers. That's right. I love Bob's Burgers, the animated series, and I'm so excited to see a movie up on the big screen. I can't wait for the trailer to come out, to be honest. So I'm going to be there watching Bob's Burgers, and then I'll go see Tenet. In fact, I might go see Bob's Burgers twice if it's good enough, and then I'll go see Tenet. Sorry, Christopher Nolan. That's just how I feel. So, all right, skipping down, August 21st, Bill and Ted Face the Music. Speaking of sequels that are long overdue, it is the sequel with Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. This one, the guys have grown up to be adults, and it's their daughters, I think, who are going to take the main stage in this one. You got William Sattler coming back as Death from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, great, you know, fun film in the 80s. Bogus Journey wasn't, I think, as well liked. It was still okay, in my opinion. But I remember they had the cartoon Bill and Ted. I had the toys. I had the phone booth and, the Bill and Ted toys where you press their legs together and they would do like air guitar toys. It was fun. So, given the fact that it is a, sequel to a film that came out 30 years ago, I'm honestly not expecting a lot from it. It's being directed by Dean Parasut, is that his name? I don't know. He directed Galaxy Quest and Red 2 that are honestly a little underrated. So that gets me a little excited, I guess. But I want this film to do good. I want every film to do good. But given the fact that I have a history with this film, I want it to do good, but I don't have high hopes for it. Skipping over to September 28th, The King's Man, the prequel to The Kingsman, starring Ray Fiennes and Aaron Taylor Johnson, comes out, like I said, September 18th is what it said here. What do I have on my list? I think I said 28th there. All right, IMDb says the 18th. I'm going to go with the 18th then. So September 18th when it's coming back. I know it was pushed back a little bit too as far as the production of it. But anyway, it's set in World War I. It's directed by Matthew Vaughn, who directed the first Kingsman film. Great director. He also directed, Kick-Ass and what else? X-Men First Class. It's a period piece. It's a comic book movie directed by Matthew Vaughn, based off material by Mark Millar. I'm all in. I am honestly all in on this film, and I'm excited to see it. And that's honestly all I can say about it, guys. So let me know if you are excited to see it or not, too. However, speaking of films I am not excited about, Venom 2. And I gotta say, that first Venom film with Tom Hardy, I thought was a big, stinking pile of huge crap. I walked out of it thinking the best part of it was the end credits where they had a preview for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, to be honest. Now, this film is going to be directed by Andy Serkis, best known for his motion capture magic. He was Gollum in Lord of the Rings. He was also Snoke in the recent Star Wars films. Tom Hardy's coming back. Michelle Williams coming back. They're set to have Woody Harrelson as Carnage in this one. Look, I've never been a big Venom fan to begin with, but I went in, trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I thought the movie was just it was like a 90s comic book film. Not like modern day type of quality we expect from a comic book film, but like 90s, pre-X-Men, pre-Spider-Man, Batman and Robin, nipples on the bat suit kind of bad in my eyes. And, that mid-credit scene where they set up Woody Harrelson as Carnage. Okay. I'm getting a little worked up just talking about this film, so I'm just going to say I'm not looking forward to it. And I'll move on. There we go. Okay, next up, Snake Eyes. Now, this, of course, is G.I. Joe, the real American hero. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, they're doing a spin-off solo-ish film with the popular G.I. Joe's character. It's going to be very interesting given the fact that Snake Eyes is a character who doesn't actually talk. So go figure that. You do have a couple people that are set to be in this one. Samara Weaving is going to be known as Scarlet. Henry Golding, who was, I think, wasn't he in Crazy Rich Asians and A Simple Favor? Good actor, actually. He's going to be in The Gentleman coming up, too, which I'm excited about. He's going to be actually Snake Eyes. But again, Snake Eyes doesn't talk, so I'm curious how that's going to go. Anyway, again, G.I. Joe was a popular 80s cartoon series, so of course I watched it. I love the movie, the animated movie even more. Wasn't too happy with the live-action films with Channing Tatum and The Rock years ago. But, it's a reboot, refresh, start, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you guys will too. Comes out October 16th. Let me know how far your excitement is on that one. Okay, coming out November 6th, we got another MCU film, The Eternals. Now, this one is going to be very interesting, guys. We're being introduced to a whole new group of characters. I know The Eternals. I'm not a fan of the Eternals. Like, I've tried reading the comics several times, kind of like with, what's it called? the Inhumans. I tried to get into them and I just couldn't. Eternals, especially after I heard the movie was coming, I checked them out a little bit and I just couldn't do it. But not to say that I might not like the film. It's got a great cast, of course. You got Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, Kit Harington, Selma Hayek, Camille Nanjiani. Sorry, the guy from Silicon Valley. Good cast, of course. Going to be directed by Chloe Zhao. It's MCU. It's one of those things where if it's a hit, great. They got another franchise. If it's not a hit, okay. That was our Eternals movie. Let's move on. We got other stuff coming down the pipe. No problem there. But it's surely to be a big spectacle film, given the source material. Given that Black Widow is going to be, I think, more of a smaller film, this one will be, again, a more big, extravagant, popcorn blockbuster, I think, in my eyes, that a lot of people see. And it's coming out in November, so it's a good time to get some of the holiday crowd when it's not a lot of competition. I think it's the right spot for it, so we'll wait and see how that one does. Godzilla vs. Kong coming out November 20th. Godzilla, the franchise, hasn't done as well as they'd hoped. Kong Skull Island, again, another one that was a little bit of a disappointment. They're still trying to bring this cinematic universe together. I did not watch Godzilla Part 2, King of the Monsters. I did not watch Kong Skull Island. Honestly, I might have an interest in this, except for the fact that, they're trying to make Kong as big as Godzilla, and the King Kong I grew up with, or the one that I've always known, was never that big. So that kind of bothers me maybe a little bit. I don't know. That's just, the previous films, the setup, kind of like with Justice League. The setup films weren't that great, so I'm not looking forward to the big crossover film in my eyes. But some people are, and if they are, that's great. More power to you. I like that you're excited about it, and please tell me just how excited you are for Godzilla vs. Kong coming out. Now, one that has a big question mark for me is Dune, coming out December 18th, taking kind of that Star Wars spot a little bit there. Directed by Denis Villeneuve. I think I said his name right. I'm never quite sure. But he directed films such as Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049. He also did one of my favorite films in the last couple of years, Prisoners, with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. Really good film if you guys haven't checked that out. To film, though, I don't think my wife can handle because it's about missing children. But anyway, he's directing this one with a stellar cast. Timothy Chalamet is going to be in this one. You got Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Zendaya, Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård. It goes on, man, and it's just a great cast. It's based off, a set of books that they turned into a movie a while ago, as well as a sci-fi series, miniseries, based off, like I said, a very good classic sci-fi storyline. Good source material to start off. As long as you get a good screenplay, you got a good director and a good cast, it could be really cool. It could be the start of a franchise if done right. It's piqued my interest. I'm looking forward to it. Whether you guys are not too, that's what I want to know, of course. Fire back on those social media groups, Gmail account. Let me know what you think about Dune. Did you like the original Dune, actually? Because I barely remember the original Dune. I should probably go back and rewatch it at some point. I'm sure you can find it other places, but I probably should do that to prepare for this one. But anyway, it's good sci-fi, and I'm always down for good sci-fi. So there you go, guys. Those are the 2020 films, sci-fi, comic book, fantasy related, that are coming out that, I'm at least semi-interested in. Maybe some other ones not so interested in, but either way, we'll see what the year brings us. Okay, so that covers the movies. I'm already past what my time is I usually like to do. So, I know I want to talk a little Star Wars with Lisa, but like I said, I'm past my time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end it here, and then I'm going to do a separate Star Wars with Lisa, which I'll record and I'll post in a couple days. So, but first, like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of TV coming out. Star Wars: The Clone Wars is probably the thing I want to talk about most, but I'm going to wait and talk about that with Lisa. Returning favorites, Young Justice is coming back, The Boys, Pennyworth, a first season that I actually haven't finished, but I really enjoyed like the first half of the season that I've seen. I plan on finishing that one and excited for season 2. You got the Disney Plus Marvel shows, Falcon Winter Soldier, as well as WandaVision coming out too, so that'll be cool. So those are a couple shows that I'm looking forward to in 2020. Let me know what you're excited about, guys. And like I said, I'm going to end it here, and then I'm going to get this posted up hopefully sometime in the next couple of hours. But before I do, Lisa and I are going to record a little Star Wars about the possible future of Star Wars now that Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker are done. Where do we see Star Wars going from here, and what is on the horizon for the Star Wars franchise? So be on the lookout for that in the next couple days. But I'm going to call it quits now. Okay, so fire back on the social media groups, Gmail account, or any of the places that you're listening. Let me know what you think. What movies are you excited about for 2020 related to the sci-fi fantasy comic book genre? I want to hear them. Give me your top 5 or something along those lines. Let me know, guys. As always, like I said, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter, SlimDayspring12. Don't forget to go in and like, rate, review, dislike, whatever. Comment, join in the discussion. This was Dayspring Discussions, the first episode of 2020. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with us all.